Hello, everybody. Welcome to another Ammunimium upload. Today, we're going to be talking about the time that I skipped surgery to play Minecraft. This is a very productive story. Basically, the story starts when I was a very small child. Essentially, I was playing in a ping pong club, and the thing about the ping pong tables is that we kind of had them stacked next to each other, and like there was a small space in between. So there was a kid who, for the sake of the story, I'm gonna call Liam. Now I had seen Liam, but we kind of like put his hands between the two tables, and he was like swinging. And when I was like a little child, I thought that was really cool. So basically, I did that, and then I started swinging, and I ended up slipping because the ping pong tables are kind of like shit, and they can't actually hold anything. Oh, we're fucked. So basically, the ping pong table was very slippery, so I ended up slipping, and this resulted in me falling forwards and hitting the top of my jaw. Now I ended up chipping my front tooth, and I also just ended up very bad injuring my top part of my jaw and also my bottom part. They were both like equally affected, but like the main impact point was this one like chip that I had. Why does everyone want to kill me? Why does everyone want to break my bed? Can these people stop trying to break my bed, please? I don't like it. I'm kind of sick and tired of this. I'm trying to story tell. Now, after I had fallen over and chipped my tooth, the doctors all kind of came in and they were like, okay, so your jaw, you're low-key fucked, okay? Like, no prospects of ever mating with another female because they're going out the window, okay? You're done. The end is near. You are never finding any form of romantic partner. And to be honest, I was kind of fine with the arrangement because I was 9. I think I was 9. So essentially, after the surgery, what they did was they gave me a fake tooth, and they kind of just do that by putting on some like plastic filament. I'm not fully educated on the dental practice that they partake in, but basically, what they do is they look at your tooth and they go, ah, well, that's pretty cool. So basically, what we're gonna do is we're just gonna like put some plastic filling on, drill the top part to make it like smooth, and you're basically just gonna have a fake tooth. Try not to bite on it too hard. The actual fake tooth part came off once or twice, and I had to go to the like dental practitioner place to get it replaced, and it was a whole process because it's like, oh, you can't be breaking your small little fuck ass fake tooth. How dare you? So essentially, there were a couple of different options I could go in order to try and get some help. So, due to the injury, I was suffering from two different problems. Now, the first problem I had was that my bottom jaw had started just like taking a bunch of damage because at the point where the jaw like arches into the skull, I want to say, it, like connects, I was having a lot of erosion from the joint tissue, which is very bad. So the doctors were like, okay, so your teeth aren't straight because you fucking knocked them into the fucking concrete floor like a moron. So probably gonna have to give you braces. But honestly, braces will only go so far because your shit's fucked. So then they were like, okay, well, we could think about jaw surgery. We could think about it. So 9-year-old me was hearing all this, and they were like, oh shit, that's kind of crazy. And they kind of like never elaborated on it. So I ended up being put in a waiting queue for healthcare. I was praying for some good healthcare, and I just wasn't receiving the healthcare I needed. Okay, but it was okay. I was able to live around it for the most part. And I mean, after a little bit, you kind of get used to not being able to like straight bite food. So you kind of just learn to like chomp it with your back teeth, your molars. So for me at least, once I got used to it, it wasn't too bad. The main issue that I faced was that the second I got the injury, I had a hard time speaking, and I've had a hard time speaking a lot. If you couldn't tell from the boat video or even the documentary, essentially I usually would get like a voice actor or like someone else to voice over the script purely because I'm just unable to speak during that moment. I think I'm quite lucky that I'm still able to speak because, to be honest, my like jaw could be wide shut right now, and it's not, which is letting me speak. It's a pretty fortunate event that I'm still able to communicate verbally. So basically, over the next couple of years, the doctors would take a bunch of X-rays, but there was a small issue. So in the country where I live, healthcare is semi-free. It's cheap, but basically the way it works is that actual healthcare, because you're under 18, you're like entitled to free healthcare because I don't know, they decided that kids shouldn't be getting lifelong, like, life-ruining injuries and just not being able to do anything about them. Is that an invis? That's an invis. No, I don't want fucking invis. Can this invis player fuck off? There's too many. There's too many people. There's too many people. I can't do this. So the practitioner who was doing the operations, there was like a main person. They were doing a bunch of X-rays over time, and they were like, okay, so your condition's getting worse, but I mean, you're a young lad, okay? If you have a bit of difficulty talking or eating, it doesn't really matter. It took a very long time, and essentially, the private dental care system that the country has and the main healthcare were having a massive fight over who should be responsible for handling the surgery because both my jaw and my teeth were injured. So it was like, okay, well, the teeth would be the dentist's problem, but the jaw would be the healthcare, the main health, whatever's problem. So they're gonna had a massive argument about, oh, well, you should be handling this and you should be handling that. And they had a nice little argument because essentially, if it was through the healthcare provider, it would be free. But if it was through the orthodontist, then it would cost 5 grand. And honestly, I didn't have 5 grand, unfortunately. I don't think many people have 5 grand lying around when they're 9 years old, unfortunately. So I was put on a wait list. Because my local hospital had came to the verdict that it wasn't their problem. That I should go fuck myself, and that basically I should just pay the 5 grand to my dental care people. And my dental care people, okay, I knew my dentist. They were chill. They didn't want to have to do this either, but it was like, corporates, they charge a certain amount for this kind of stuff. So essentially, I would have to get a very fuck ass surgery, which is called a.
Bilateral sagittal split osteotomy.
I'm not even gonna try and pronounce the surgery name. I don't think I can. Honestly, it's atrocious. But essentially what they would do is they look at your jaw and they go, okay, we're gonna make 2 incisions. Uh one on the right side on so many invis players. I'm tired of this like invisibility craze. So essentially they make 2 incisions, one on the right side of your jaw and one on the left side of your jaw. And then they put in some like metal lengthening things. And those metal lengthening things are supposed to bring your jaw forwards. So, that would supposedly help. I don't know. I genuinely can't comment on whether or not it would. I haven't had much of the surgery. I've had the first part of it, which was a multi-tooth extraction to make place for the actual like procedure because they need to clear out space in order so that the mouth has like less crowding for them to actually access the places where they're going to make the incisions. So it was kind of a situation where they ended up deciding, okay, we're going to send you to the orthodontist and then you're going to get given a 6-tooth extraction. After the 6-tooth extraction and you're going to be in like agonizing pain for ages, we're going to give you braces immediately for 1.5 years and then we're going to finish you up with the surgery. And this was kind of the plan in motion, and they were just waiting for a hospital to approve it. And we ended up finding a hospital that was like an hour away, but they were like, you know what? We will help this young man out. We will be the saviors of the story. And they really were. Essentially, I had a couple more x-rays, and unfortunately, I started having major swelling in my jaw and an extreme amount of pain. So they were looking at it. And I don't know what it was, but I think that my dentist was like a massive troll, okay? Because I was sitting in the room and they start looking at it and they're like, oh my god, it's swelling. This looks atrocious. I think the man may have a tumor. And I go, I don't want to have a tumor. What the fuck? I'm too young for cancer. This is terrible. And it turns out I did not have cancer. I just had like a jaw infection because fuck knows. Kind of resulted in a point where I I don't really know. Because I have a family history of people with cancer. So when they said tumor, it was like oh my god, for fuck's sake, it was about time it got me. It was about time. And no, I did not have cancer. I do not have cancer. I'm very grateful for not having cancer. I just think that my dentist is like a massive rage bait. Okay, he's a massive troll. He sees that they're swelling and he's like, okay, well, I'm supposed to list out the potential things this could be, but let me put extra emphasis on the tumor. Let me absolutely shit this patient to the point where they're probably going to be in tears. Let's ignore the fact they're like 11 at this point. So a couple more years go by, and as eventually the hospital finally confirms that they're all good to do the procedure, and we begin. As I said, it was a whole thing. So I was supposed to have my surgery for the lower jaw, like the tooth extraction, booked. I think it was in early January, and it was very important that I went to this appointment. However, unfortunately, the actual hospital canceled it. I don't know. I think my like surgeon was just sick. I don't really blame the thing. They did cancel it on time. And eventually it got delayed a few times. And eventually it got delayed all the way to March or April. I don't remember which month exactly. So this was gonna be one of the biggest surgeries of my life. This was gonna be life-changing, okay? This would literally be the beginning of me being able to talk again, me being able to communicate the way I was born, the way I was meant to. Now, at the same time, I was playing on this geopolitical Minecraft server, which I'm not gonna name, but I'm sure many of you guys could many of the viewers could figure out which one this is. And the surgery was booked to happen on a Saturday, and unfortunately, one of the parts of the surgery is that you basically like have to stay in the hospital for like a week. You kind of just like sit there like half dead. So essentially, there's a bunch of swelling. They have to check for complications. The it's a whole process. So you spend the first day there with the whole anesthetic. Then the next day they do like a checkup appointment, and they monitor you. And I was prepared if things go wrong to be in that hospital for like a week. And the geopolitical server I was playing on did weekly wars, which would have mean that I would have had to miss one of the weekly wars. And having to miss a weekly war is basically like career suicide, okay? Your nation is gonna lose. You're gonna lose all of your like nation pizzazz, all of your coolness. And honestly, I could not handle losing all of my nation coolness, okay? So I ended up skipping the surgery to play on the geopolitical Minecraft server. And the geopolitical Minecraft server was, I believe, World War One themed. So essentially, instead of getting my jaw surgery to fix my ability to speak, I decided to go off and spend my time playing Minecraft. I'm gonna fill the rest of the video with some b-rolls, the geopolitical server I played on, because honestly, I do really think that it was a very, very like interesting decision to make. Now, I ended up having the surgery take place like 3 months later. Was my surgeon pissed? No, not really. To be honest, no one really cared. Everyone was just kind of like, oh, that's okay, I'll do it later. I mean, we can't really be mad for like a 16-year-old not really being up to having their jaw poked around with metal instruments right this moment. Especially because the surgery is technically optional. Like, I opted in because it would improve my life experience. So, I mean, I guess it's not optional in that way, but like, it's not a procedure I have to have. It's a procedure that like would significantly improve my life, but I could in theory live without. Like, I do think it's quite interesting. The whole stance that the surgeons had of me skipping my surgery, because they didn't really care. They were just like, yeah, this kind of sucks. Actually, going for the surgery was kind of a surreal experience. So it was like an hour drive to just like get started. Once you get to like the hospital, they make you get changed into like a funky gown that opens at the side. They made me put these very like tight socks on. I don't know what the tight socks are for. I genuinely have no clue. Something blood pressure. And one of the things I found most surprising is the whole like going under anesthetic experience, because you kind of like lay down on the bed they have and they tell you we're gonna put you under anesthetic, and then they just like start talking to you about your interests and stuff. And then all of a sudden you just completely go out. It's just one moment you're awake, the next moment you're dead. So yeah, I do just find that really interesting how they kind of just do a whole bang. We're just gonna like mysteriously, for no reason at all, just take you out. No warning, no countdown. One moment you're like awake and functioning, the next moment you're just fully out. And I think it's really interesting that they like do it and like that. They just like it's kind of like a bit of like joking around, a bit of trolling. You're just like, we might tell you when you're gonna go out. We probably won't. Overall, ended up waking up. My entire mouth was just full of blood. They ended up giving me some like gauze, so I had to pretty much pack my mouth with that and like just like bite down on it to put pressure on it. The bleeding stopped after like 3 days, I want to say, because it was pretty consistent bleeding for the first couple days. And they kind of told me, yeah, it's pretty normal. Good luck eating, bro. They did give me some very strong painkillers. They also recommended that I take all of the drugs possible. They were like, paracetamol, ibuprofen. You know, if you can find some shit that kills pain, you should probably be fucking taking it, bro. And then I think the swelling stopped after about a week, and it was basically fully recovered after about 2, 3 weeks. So then I had another appointment where they basically put the braces on, and ever since then, I've kind of just had the process of having my teeth getting stretched until a year and a half later, where they are going to finally do the big surgery. Because obviously, they've removed the 6 teeth to make room, and now the braces are going to do their work. But I still need my very complex surgery, which I cannot recite the name of. So yeah, that's the story of the time that I skipped a very, very important surgery to play on a Minecraft server. I want you to know that we did end up winning that war, okay? We expanded over the very, very nice, I believe it was, I think we were Norway, and I believe that we had our own town, though my memory may not be serving me correctly. I haven't really paid attention for a while. Anyways, thanks for watching my little story time. I'll see you guys in the next one.
Thank you for watching this video. Like and subscribe if you enjoyed it. And with all that said, peace.